we'll be seeing you in the upcoming series here shortly for Amazon for the series Zorro. Was there something about this project, or maybe because it's shot in Mexico, that really drew you to be a part of this?
The series actually was shot in the Canary Islands, which was it's we spent like 7 months over there, and for me it was the first time that I worked outside of Mexico. So for me it was actually really interesting. It was this massive production with an amazing cast, with amazing creators, and I think just overall the idea of bringing back an existing IP like Zorro in a new modern way for me was very interesting, and exploring a character that, although he's been part of the series for a long time, since its creation almost, uh the new way it was written was just really interesting and had a lot of layers to it, so I was very excited about that.
You do kind of love a period piece too, as well. You were you were last in a soldier's uniform too.
Yeah, that's true. It's and what's crazy is that that one, the head of Joaquin Murrieta, is it's kind of crazy how that happened, because Zorro, the character, was based on the legend of Joaquin Murrieta, which is the very first. Well, he was kind of seen as a Mexican Robin Hood, and it's really curious how I was able to be in that series. It's Western, also period piece, also a soldier, way different, but and then going next to Zorro being in this same universe is really interesting. So, and obviously a period piece, as an actor, it's amazing to do, because it makes your job really easy, having the support of all the other departments for you to go into the scene, and you're already basically, in another universe. It just lets you play.
You didn't have to shave either.
No, not at all. I actually grew it a little bit more.
Talk to us about the character you're playing for Zorro. How was he described to you?
The character is Captain Monasterio, and he's kind of this rival figure, I guess. There's the best way to describe it for both Zorro and Diego de la Vega, which is played by Miguel Bernardo. And he's the captain of the Mexican army. So what's really interesting is that this character, as I said before, we've seen him in other iterations of the series. But honestly, all the other versions of this character are very kind of one-sided, very cliche villain. And here, what's really interesting from the get-go, you really get to see, and I'm talking about all the characters here. There's depth to them, and for my character, although he is kind of this rival figure, that's because they're just in different sides of the same coin. Monasterio is a man that really fights for justice and for the law, and kind of the whole theme of the series is what does that really mean? What does justice mean, and from what point of view? And it's really interesting how this character, he's actually a very honorable man. He just maybe doesn't see things clearly at first, and he believes that the law is just, and the truth is that sometimes the law isn't really just. So for me, it was really interesting to really, I don't know, kind of play this character that, yes, he's the villain in a sort of sense, but there's more to him than that, and it's really interesting to play that duality in characters.
Were you familiar with any of your co-stars before working with them here on Zorro?
I had met a lot of the Mexican actors before. I don't think I had worked with any of them before. Renata, Andres Almeida, Renata Notni, Andres Almeida, Dalia Chiquat, Cecilia Suarez. There was amazing actors. Uh, and no, but I hadn't never had the pleasure of working with them, and obviously I hadn't worked with the Spanish cast, but I knew a lot of them from their work or from just meeting them here in Mexico or whatever. But it was really really pleasant to work with that group because everyone was very excited to really go deep into the characters. Being outside of home for so long, it's interesting because you actually get to really bond with everyone, outside of set. Which if in Mexico City you would go out, sure, you see each other in set, but then everyone has their own lives. And over there, it's kind of this like foreign exchange program that everyone's just like living together and like hanging out. And it's, I don't know, we made a really good family, and they're all fantastic in the series.
With that in mind, then I was going to ask if you were looking forward to sharing a scene with someone, maybe, or someones in particular.
Um, I think what was interesting was mostly when we started to do all the previous work, the table reads and all that. For me, was just very interesting. Just to see how my character would interact with everyone, because there's so many different characters, so many different universes within the series that I got very excited right before the series started to shoot. Of like, sure, I have my own character. I'm working on him, figuring this out, but it's very different, and it's I think what's special about acting is that uh everyone has their own universe working, and when you go and see someone that's really into it, things come out that you didn't think before because your character is reacting to another real breathing character. And for me, it's amazing, working with Miguel. He's fantastic as the protagonist, and seeing how those like subtleties work of like that rivalry, having working with Renata, and understanding how we can kind of create that bond between our characters, see that at least that soft side of my character as reflected with her. And with everyone else, it's very, you can have fights, you can have there's so much that I was just honestly very excited to see how it'd be to work with each different person individually.
There's some great stunt work in this. Did you have to do anything in particular to physically prepare for being a part of the series? Or obviously you are in good shape already because of you had been in, this other series playing
Yeah.
a you had recently been in this other series playing, a soldier as well. But did they do anything in particular? I mean, obviously you had to go to stunt class and sort of figure out different things for your character as well.
Yeah, it was actually, I mean, that's, I guess, the most fun, as how I told you that my character is a captain in the Mexican army. And this is like 1830s. So I guess the first thing was getting really good at riding horses, basically. So we had a lot of classes with the horses. And I was fortunate enough, as you said, to have these other the other series that I had to get familiar with horses. And then I was lucky enough that the very first time I did a movie that I had to ride horses, it was like one scene. So it was like I kind of started to get it, and then the next one, the head of Joaquin Murrieta, was a little bit more, but there was no action. But I started to get it, and then when I came here, that like most of my scenes are in a horse, and like I had to do a bunch of things with the horse. That was really important, and to get to know your own animal is very interesting. To really form that bond. Then also we had a lot of fencing classes, which was really interesting. Going into a series that's so iconic because of that type of sword fighting and stuff. We had a lot of training with swords, with the weapon work, with the guns, And yeah, just overall it was kind of on top of all the table reads and all the script work. It was just at least 3 hours a day of just, you know, all that preparation that at the end of the day it's really nice. Even obviously you have the group of stunts that we had in the series was phenomenal. Like they were insane. um but it's really nice to know that if need be you can do a lot of the things, and just creating the character, it just gives you much more I guess much more confidence when approaching those types of scenes.
Every episode is action packed. Is there a scene or maybe an episode you really think fans should keep an eye out for, with in regards to everything that you got to experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting is that there's kind of this structure to the series that um, there's always at least one action-packed moment in each episode. And what I think is really interesting is that it keeps kind of uh, they were really cautious of making sure that it wasn't just the same type of fighting and the same type of action in all 10 episodes. And what's really interesting is that at least for me when I saw the series, it was just really interesting seeing like, oh, okay, what are they gonna do now that's different from everything that I already saw, you know? And um like without giving any spoilers, there's just like for example they're very like with Zorro, he has the sword, but he also has a whip, and you know the thing with the throwing knives or with the horses or with the guns. There's always this kind of very I guess it's a very rich life of action that there's there. And especially there's certain like specific duels or moments that the stunt coordinators just they were incredible. They're like, how can we make this new? For me, I think there's a couple scenes that are my favorite. In episode 3, I think there's an incredible you know kind of it's more of a scene. It's just like this huge how do you call it, yeah, well, whatever. The like half of episode 3 is just one big action sequence, and it's incredible. There's a lot of references to like, I don't know. In that one, reminded me of like Old Boy a little bit. That has, you know, a very specific type of fighting without any cuts. That's really interesting. Then I think it's around episode 7, I believe, that they have a specific fight where just how it's structured, there's very limited movement, and it's very interesting to see how everything got resolved that way. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I would love to see what people think and what's their favorite sequence and why.
All right, well, you'll find out soon, right?
Very, very soon. It comes out the 19th, uh, and I think the 23rd over in Spain and Portugal.
All right. What do you think it is about this version of Zorro that's really going to make it a fast fan favorite series?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that I guess, I mean, I don't, a lot of the new generations probably don't even know what Zorro is, but you know, all of us that were in the 90s and early 2000s, it's interesting because we always kind of say, oh, Zorro equals Antonio Banderas. And yes, I mean that was amazing, you know. But Zorro was actually the very first comic book superhero, you know. So with that, it's been alive for so many years in so many different iterations. It has comic books, a lot of movies, a lot of series, a lot of books. And what I really like about this new version of Zorro is a couple of things. One is that it went back to its comic book roots. So you would see even from the lighting and just how everything's shot, it's very interesting, very um I guess, yeah, I mean, you see, yes, you're in the 1800s, but there's like purple lights and like bright blues, and everything just seems very comic book like, as well as how it's shot, the type of cameras that they use. And one thing that the directors always said that's very interesting is that Zorro, again, although it's set in the 1800s, every iteration has been made for the specific era which it's projected. Antonio Banderas was a Zorro of the late 90s, and how everything is carried. And this Zorro is 2024. All the characters are very uh they're very new in how they develop, and just I think it's just a very interesting way of seeing an iconic character in a very brand new light that I hopefully old fans of Zorro really enjoy seeing how this got a new life, and then get a couple more fans that just enjoy this brand new type of storytelling that we're seeing a lot in, I don't know, for example, like One Piece or things like that that have been working out today. I think it's that type of market, I guess.
What are the other projects that you have been busy working on now that you've completed Zorro and it's ready to come out into the world?
Yeah, well, actually, I have this past year since we finished Zorro, I did two movies. One called Atypical Pirate, which shot in Guadalajara, and another movie called Autos, Moto y Rock and Roll, which is a really, really interesting kind of mockumentary movie about Avándaro, which is widely known as the Mexican Woodstock, which happened in the 70s. That one, I'm next to Alejandro Spitzer, which is an incredible actor as well, and that one I'm very excited about, and I'm about to start another movie. I think next month. That's yeah, I'm very excited about that one. I just can't say much, but yeah, I mean, I've been doing that, and also working with my production company, Addiction House, with the company that did How to Survive Being Single. And we're just pitching a lot of shows, getting some legwork in, and hopefully we can get another one off the ground soon.
I've got my fingers crossed, and maybe a collab coming up again with your brother Sebastian would be in the
That'd be
works,
amazing.
maybe.
Yeah, there are a lot of stuff in the works.
All right. What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the wonderful work you do on our screens?
Nothing, just I guess say that I'm very happy that people are watching. I mean, for me, I think the most important thing is to do projects that speak to me, that I enjoy, and put all my passion into it, and hopefully it brightens up someone's day. It lets someone kind of just sit back, enjoy, relax, and enjoy a good story. And I mean, just I guess thank everyone that supports these shows, especially the ones that are these Mexican produced shows, or overall that um it's an interesting time that now you can compete worldwide. And for us, as this Latin market, for us it's incredibly special, and hopefully if we keep getting this support, we can keep making better and better things, because we really have a great talent over here, and just happy to be a part of it.